Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks. This is a sound check. Clean, crisp, crystal clear. Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks. 25 epic international radio stations broadcasting from New York City to every nation on earth.
Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler, a masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity. A University of the West Indies thesis, 21st March 1985 by Sukram Ali. Presented 40 years later, June 19th, 2025. By the ultimate selector with the kind compliments of the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love, on Love Radio Pure Passion. 40 years ago, I presented a thesis for the module Caribbean History and Contemporary Social Problems at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine campus. This presentation is adapted from the original script, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. This program is dedicated to my classmates, the class of 1984 to 1987, Communication Arts, UWI, St. Augustine, Trinidad and Tobago. Love Radio 5D Radio Flicks, 25 epic international radio stations, broadcasting from Midtown Manhattan, New York City to every nation on the planet. Powered by music from the Ultimate Collection and the power of love with Radio Flicks and AI technologies. Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio Pure Passion, courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic, bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class. Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, one of 4 giants among men, fearless heroes and champions of the working class. Mahatma Gandhi, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. The hero and spokesman of the working class, the champion of the poor and downtrodden, the supreme chief servant, a true father of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, Q-Ball Uriah Buzz Butler. Butler Butler was uncompromisingly, absolutely, and completely opposed to British colonial rule.
The Butler point of view is that this government, a crown colony form of government, is not constitutional. And furthermore, Butler is absolutely and completely opposed to crown colony government in this day and age. And so, a court that is set up by a crown colony government cannot be capable of trying Butler or convicting Butler. I reject any verdict coming from this court. I reject any verdict coming from this court.
Powerful words from a fearless conqueror, a passionate man of determination, courage, intelligence, and wisdom. A man who went to jail for championing the plight of the working class. Buzz devoted his life unselfishly and wholeheartedly to the struggle for improvements in the working and living conditions of the poor African and Indian laborers in the sugar and oil industries, struggling with all his might by any means necessary against the colonial government of the British West Indies. Buzz was committed to truth, justice, and fair play. Never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, anyone so bravely and boldly spoke out with fiery words and fearless actions, regardless of the consequences.
It's a sad thing to remember, and it's sadder still for me to relate today. But as I remember, the conditions of the poor Indians and Negroes in sugar and oil respectively was nothing short of subhuman. It was clearly a case for early rectification. And how to do it? Letter after letter was dispatched to the powers that be in the oil and sugar industry. No replies. We turned our attention to the government of the day. Every letter was attended to, acknowledged. But what about the alleviation of the condition of these poor workers? Well, nothing was attempted, nothing done. And so I thought that the time had come when we had to take positive action to achieve positive results insofar as betterment of the condition under which these people were forced to live and die and work.
Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, the hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class. Contrary to popular belief, including the report of the Foster Commission of Inquiry, the oil strikes of June 19, 1937 started by accident. This is a crucial point. In case you did not hear clearly, I would say it again. The oil strikes of June 19, 1937 started by accident. Prior to June 19, 1937, Butler, addressing the workers, told them to be on the alert, for he will be calling a sit-down strike anytime soon. At about 2 a.m. on Saturday, June 19, 1937, an electrical failure at one of the oil wells close to the road at the Forest Reserve oil fields in South Trinidad forced the workers to discontinue work and sit down in the vicinity of the well. The workers who were passing by on their way to take up the 4 a.m. shift, aware of Butler's impending strike, assumed that the workers at the disabled oil well had gone on strike on Butler's orders. The rumor spread like wildfire. More workers at Forest Reserve oil wells donned their tools and sat down on strike. The workers at Apex oil fields joined in the sit-down strike. The discontent that had been simmering for years finally erupted. Unlike the mud volcanoes of Piparo and Hindustan, eruptions of fire and fury. The whispers of discontent grew louder through the years, and the spark was lit by one man, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Butler was a man of fire and brimstone. His speeches ignited the dormant hopes in the hearts of the working class. Uriah demanded justice, fair play, better wages and working conditions, of a future where children would not be bounded by the same chains as their ancestors. At 5 a.m., when the estate police attempted to remove the striking workers from the oil fields premises, the retreating Apex workers set fire to 2 oil wells. By 7 a.m., most of the surrounding oil field workers were on strike, thinking Butler had ordered the strike. Butler was in La Brea and did not hear about the strike until 10 a.m. The colonial authorities were aware of the gathering storm and wary of the true power of solidarity. They saw Butler as a threat, a trigger that could ignite a full-blown rebellion. For months, as workers marched through the streets demanding their rights, the police confronted them with guns and batons. Butler firmly believed that he was God's chosen Messiah of the colonized Caribbean people, and that whatever trade union or political activities he pursued, God had his back. He feared no man nor political system. When Butler arrived at Faizabad at 2 p.m., he was greeted by a large crowd and decided at that time to endorse the strikes. The very same day of the strikes, a decision was taken by the colonial authorities to charge Butler with inciting violence and breaches of the peace. A warrant was issued and instructions given for his immediate arrest. At 3 p.m., when Butler was addressing a large crowd of hundreds of workers and citizens at the junction in Faizabad, a team of officers arrived with a warrant for his arrest. Constable Belfour read the arrest warrant for inciting violence and breaches of the peace. Butler turned to the crowd and asked 3 times, "Comrades, must I go?" On each occasion, the response was a resounding no. A plainclothes policeman who hounded and charged Butler previously, seeking to advance his reputation and position in the force, attempted to arrest Butler. Butler was airlifted by the crowd and taken to safety. Police Corporal Charlie King was beaten by the enraged crowd. Abandoned by his police team, Corporal Charlie King attempted to seek refuge in a nearby shop and leaped out the back window, breaking his legs. What happened next was very, very sad. Kerosene was poured on him. Set on fire, Charlie King burnt to death. In the days that followed, Faizabad became a war zone. The rioters barricaded the main road into the downtown section, and it was a full 3 days before the charred remains of Corporal Charlie King were recovered. An English policeman, Sub-Inspector William S. Bradburn, was also shot dead while on patrol, and in retaliation, the police killed an innocent bystander, LaBray Charles. A fiery Butlerite woman, Elma Francois, was also arrested. That junction today is known as Charlie King Junction in the heart of Fyzabad. Men and women who had been beaten down, subdued, oppressed for so long, stood tall, found the courage and fought back. They were no longer silent. Their voices rose in unison against the oppressors. With a Butler tribute for Labor Day, here's Louis Lewis with A Hair.
Oh Lord, where things are too bad. Real fire in Fyzabad. Never discotheque for so. One policeman down, man, you know. The leader come, the police gone. That's how we start of the union. The leader come, the police gone. That's how we start of the union. I hear they're looking for us again. They're looking in vain. But they might just find him here in the meeting. No, they wouldn't hear. Butler he should run away. Run and hide till another day. Not a chance, no, not that man. For what he believe in is that he stands. Comrades, must I go? No, but no. Watch me come for this Saturday. On the red bucket to get paid. The police snatch, they light a match. See we lead a but just no touch. The police snatch, they light a match. See we lead a but just no touch. Jumping out window trying to flee. This fire in the people, what could it be? They marching for the Spain and back again. I really hope it's not all in vain. I wonder what's going on in Fyzabad. And it's a war we started in Trinidad. Oh Lord, where things are too bad. Real fire in Fyzabad. Never discotheque. One policeman down, man, you know. The leader come, the police gone. That's how we start of the union. The leader come, the police gone. That's how we start of the union. To fight. He was wanted down there just the other day, and they're looking for him, so he had to get away. He have a passion for fairness and right. For what he believes in is that he fights. Laborers wanted to match their work, so let it green for that they cheap pipe and smoke. Comrades, must I go? No, but no. Watch me come for this Saturday. On the red bucket to get paid. The police snatch, they light a match. See we lead a but just no touch. The police snatch, they light a match. See we lead a but just no touch. He never refused to help. He was a great man in 77. He must be home in the union, somewhere up in heaven. Confusion man, post swing in the junction. Let me go, we missing the action. But when we go in, we should go the length. Cause one thing we learn is through unity comes strength. Oh Lord, well things are too bad. Real fire in 𝐶𝐕 Nobody smoking for so. One policeman dump on, you know. The leader comes, the police gone. That's how it starts of the union. The leader comes, the police gone. That's how it starts of the union. Come out, must I go? No, but no. What we come for this time today? To fund the Red Bull can to get paid. The police not, they light a match. See we lead up, but just for touch. The police not, they light a match. See we lead up, but just for touch.
𝐂𝐤, a Butler tribute for Labor Day by Louis Lewis. Here. For 3 months, Butler stayed in hiding, defying the colonial authorities' nationwide attempts to capture the newly acclaimed leader of the working class people. Butler was harbored in various parts of the country by people of various ethnicities and religious persuasions. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your families tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness, strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee granules, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A reward of $500 was offered for information leading to his arrest, but no one volunteered any information. The reward remained unclaimed. In the words of Dr. Eric Williams, it speaks volume for the unity of the people of Trinidad and Tobago and their loyalty to Butler that no one, absolutely no one, volunteered to claim the reward. Here is Raymond Covero, Attila the Hun. Where was Butler?
The police, they search here and there. Sergeants and majors, they tore at the hair. In kitchens, in attics, in country and town. But still the elusive Butler, he couldn't be found. Some said he had gone to America, others said they saw him in Venezuela. But I knew despite all the people had to say, Butler was right here in our midst, he didn't go nowhere. police got a wire one day, I understand. They hustled out in force, but they didn't get the man. The IG declared this is a mystery, but getting way worse than Houdini. I asked Butler what was the mystery. He said that I was right in the city. Arrest by the police is what I really feared. So I just clipped my mustache and I shave off my beard.
𝐂𝐲, Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun. Where was Butler? Butler was prepared to destroy this repressive system of colonial rule by any means necessary. While Butler was in hiding, the strike spread rapidly. The days that followed were marked by strikes, protests, and clashes with the authorities. The news of the struggle, uprising, riots spread like wildfire across Trinidad, and soon the entire island was gripped by the spirit of resistance. The colonial government, faced with unprecedented unrest, had no choice but to negotiate. Governor Arthur Fletcher declared a state of emergency. On Monday, 21st June 1937, a crowd of several hundreds stormed the police in Point Fortin. 3 workers were killed and 4 injured by police gunshots when they attempted to enter the oil refinery in Pointe-a-Pierre to prevent hostile forces from gaining control. On June 21st, the working class took over San Fernando, closing down stores and shops, threatening individuals, holding up traffic, and closing down the electricity station. When they attempted to take over the telephone service, 2 were killed and 8 wounded. Sugar and oil were united in struggle. The workers at Usine St. Madeleine, Princestown, the sugar factory, joined the domestic servants in taking over the factory, the trains, and the staff-occupied bungalows, to which they had no previous access except to work as domestic servants. They closed down the electricity and water supplies and insulted and assaulted the company officials who for years mistreated them. In Pinal, 1 policeman was injured by a stone and 5 workers were wounded by police gunfire. The following day, Tuesday 22nd June 1937, at Woodford Lodge Sugar Factory in Chaguanas, 1 worker was killed and 2 wounded by police gunfire. At Rio Claro, in an attempt by workers to take over the oil fields, police versus workers, 5 workers were killed and 20 wounded by police gunshots. 2 policemen were wounded, one by friendly fire and the other by not so friendly stone. Indians and Africans, sugar and oil had united in blood and in effort against the oppressive British colonial rule. In the words of Butler, the fight is on. We shall shock the enemy. Victory or death will be ours. Here is Leroy Calise, the Black Stallion, with an appeal to the Financial Secretary of the British colony. Run something, piece of the action.
Oil drilling, money making, Mr. Divider. Here is a warning. The blood in this country, the sweat in this country. So when you share the oil bread, I say remember me. This ain't no black power talk, this ain't no talk about revolution. Mr. Divider, listen to me, this is man talking to man. Once a oil dollar, making here, Black Stallion want a share. Piece of the action, I want piece of the action. I say remember that I have family too that want food and clothes just like you. Piece of the action, I want piece of the action. If the country is grunting, that ain't nothing. But what's oil bread making? Every morning, is me you're helping. Mr. Divider, your mama dying. 200 and more million you say you're spending for food a year. I can't get flour and I can't get butter when I get rice, the thing's so dear. So much of money going to water, all I getting is muddy water.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
I said the hand take the frost in my fridge at will. Mountain you still sending a big bill.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
Local Arab fetting, two Mercedes one driving, and my old bus stalling. Ransom. News went around, we getting oil though. All your friends start coming, they want borrow. Some armed with blueprint for big industry. Some want the load for airline company. But I warning Mr. Divider, listen, me a making joke. This good Samaritan business with me, this time wouldn't work, not so. Give your people a decent home before you start posting well on.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
I say remember the first need is me, then you could fix up anybody.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
15 million spending to keep Liat flying and Titas diving. Call this a warning, say a threatening, say a quarreling, but send my something. I'm tired asking, I'm tired crying. Mr. Divider, like this switch ain't working. So much old people I see begging on the stores in tongue, and there was people who sacrificed for this country when they was young. Not so. Pinch off my little piece of dough before I finish and the Yankees go.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
I say you can't trap me like you trap butler. Walk me when I young, then leave me to suffer.
Piece of the action, I want piece of the action.
Stalin all out begging, if one thing he is seeing, the 6 feet first I go in, tell him, run something.
𝐿 Leroy Calise, the Black Stallion, run something. Piece of the action. When the dust settled after the 1937 riots, the count read 14 workers and 2 policemen killed, 59 workers and 9 policemen wounded, damage to building, equipment, oil and sugar infrastructure massive but unevaluated. The colonial authorities switched into high gear. 200 officers and men were mobilized against the workers, and Britain dispatched urgently 2 warships with 210 officers and men from Bermuda to the colony of Trinidad and Tobago to quench the uprising. The disturbances were subdued, but the strikes lasted 17 days.
It's a sad thing to remember, The conditions of the poor Indians and Negroes in sugar and oil respectively was nothing short of subhuman. It was clearly a case for early rectification. But how to do it? Letter after letter was dispatched to the powers that be in the oil and sugar industry. No replies. We turned our attention to the government of the day. Every letter was acknowledged. But what about the alleviation of the condition of these poor workers? Well, nothing was attempted, nothing done. And so I thought that the time had come when we had to take positive action to achieve positive results insofar as betterment of the condition under which these people were forced to live and die and work.
A missing $2.6 billion in the Ministry of Finance, Trinidad and Tobago, in the Auditor General's report of the public accounts for 2023 brought back memories of a missing $200,000 of the 1930s Treasury scandal. Raymond Covello, Attila the Hun, sang about the Treasury scandal.
I wonder if it's bubble what they're doing with taxpayers' money at all. I wonder if it's bubble what they're doing with taxpayers' money at all. All around the town you can hear the talk. $200,000 can walk. People saying it's conspiracy. I mean the scandal in the Treasury. It was about just 8 months past that the whole of Trinidad stood aghast when the government made a declaration that created a great sensation. In the books of the Treasury, something went wrong. $200,000 could not be found. And every clerk said it my fault, so it must be a spirit to open the vault. Well, now the entire population are demanding explanation. For when to balance his books, the poor clerks fail. They take him to court and sends him to jail. Some say in Bacra the money lost. Others declare that they buy racehorse. That someone stole it, we can't deny. For money ain't got wings and it cannot fly. All of this evidence goes to show they were bubbleizing long time ago. In fact, it's an opinion of mine. They carrying away cash a very long time. I'm sure that near everybody know how they used to burn the notes long ago. Well, this clever culprit, he used the head. He keep the banknotes and burn a paper instead. I would not have made this song at all, but I ain't got nothing in the bubble. While I pour a tailor see in hell, they carrying away cash and they doing well. For 200,000 taken from me, I would make 5 years quite happily. And when I come from jail, what did you say here? I'd be living the life of a millionaire.
Kaiso, Raymond Covello, Attila the Hun, the Treasury scandal. $200,000 in the 1930s would be about $2.6 billion in the 2020s. The more things change, the more they remain the same. Raymond Covello, Attila the Hun, the Treasury scandal. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness, strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee granules. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Adrian Cole-Rienzi was at the sidelines supporting the strike, but Cipriani, on returning to the colony from England, where he attended the coronation of King George VI, once again turned his back on the working class and supported the government. Cipriani showed his true colors when he urged the striking workers to abandon their struggle and instead use constitutional means to express their grievances. He failed to admit that at the time the Constitution did not permit such privileges. Yet today, a labor college is named after Cipriani, a man who abandoned the workers and instead supported the oppressive colonial masters. This is a travesty of justice. By July 5th, 1937, the strikes petered out. Most of the workers returned to their jobs, mainly through a process of intimidation by the police. Here is Raymond Quivero at Tiller the Hun with The Strike.
The strikes and the rats, though I wasn't there, was the most regrettable affair. I'll now entertain you with a song. I don't know who is right or who is wrong. Different versions have been stated as to how the strikes originated. Well, you may draw your own conclusion. Attila will reserve his opinion. I wanted material for Calypso, so I took a bus to San Fernando. But I won't tell you, friends, all I saw, for I'm afraid of the sedition law. Faizabad was like a battlefield, wholly surrounded by a ring of steel, with blood and carnage littering the scene, and pandemonium reigning supreme. In the words of our ex-governor, Uriah Butler was a sincere leader, and though he has ended unfortunately, still he's deserving of sympathy. These regrettable incidents are passed away, and in conclusion all I can say, we hope on the island it don't leave no stain, and happy days will come back again.
Kaiso, Raymond Quivero at Tiller the Hun with The Strike. The riotous events that followed June 19th rocked the very foundations of the colonial roots of the society. The strikes and disturbances signal the awakening of the mass consciousness. For the first time, the working class had a degree of self-respect in the colony of Trinidad and Tobago. The strikes and riots of 1937, though local in focus, were international in scope. They were followed by uprisings, strikes and riots against colonialism in Barbados, St. Kitts and Jamaica, and similar riots throughout the British Empire around the globe, which boast the sun never sets on the British Empire. The mass consciousness spread throughout the region. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler, Trinidad and Tobago, Theophilus Albert Marichaud of Grenada, Sir Grantley Adams of Barbados, Sir William Alexander Clark Bustamante of Jamaica, and later Gary Barrow, Jagan, Burnham, Fairburn, Manley, and Williams continued the struggle that led to independence in the early 1960s. On Monday, 27th September 1937, Butler came out of hiding to give evidence before the Foster Commission of Inquiry. he was immediately arrested on the charge of having a seditious intent to incite and raise discontent and disaffection against His Majesty's subjects in this colony, and to promote feelings of ill will and hostility between different classes and races of such subjects, and to bring into hatred and contempt the administration of justice.
That is what the last fight that we will have. The last great battle of Uriah Butler is the fight that is going to put every man under his own time. I know this. The transcendent fight and duty and faith servant to get from the mouth of Uriah Butler all the things that he has, and this brings the law to the peace and happiness, the good and welfare of one man. And I shall hope him put things into operation. But I look behind me and I see the overwhelming majority of the horny-handed sons of Eva, for once in the history of the country, coming to set up and build a government of the country, that just government to protect the history of every man, woman, and child, and even strangers living over here. We are aiming at setting up a righteous government in Trinidad and Tobago, and under that righteous government, it is going to be a dangerous thing to take the aim for madness. Thou cannot see. For that those oppressors and exploiters who believe we are going to steal their little cotton gain, let them rest assured that we are not going to steal their little cotton gain. We are going to acquire, legally and constitutionally acquire what they have and what they belong to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. How many times am I to tell you that you can look to Uriah Butler when people expected to go back fighting for his company for more praise and better working conditions. But I know that he won the damn oil because Trinidad oil by right belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago, and that can be repeated. And I want you to repeat that after me. Trinidad oil, Trinidad oil, by right belongs to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. And all you want now, says Uriah Butler, is a government under God and Uriah Butler to give you every goddamn one of the right and privileges. That's all you need. And what you need today, you have been looking for now for some years. You have been thinking about it. You have certainly been talking about it. Namely, we are going to vote these people because they are going to give us a government of the river, a government for the river, and it is going to be a government by this. What damn fools we have been to be those damn liars. Well, it is up. The game come, boys. Tell them the game's up. Labour now is going to fight out our hands and seize the reins of government. Don't allow anybody to pull them through. If I tell you that 3 times again on 3 different occasions, and you do not move or react to prove that, no better no more to the factor I told them out, you know, because mercy, Lord, will flow. Who's God mercy for the enemies of our people. And so, we are not going to cry or lament this plundering of the millions that have been plundered by the legitimate government of Trinidad and Tobago. We are the legitimate government, but they are also legitimate jackasses as far as politics are concerned. And therefore, I personally cannot blame people who do not only love teaching, but they have taught and done all sorts of jobs in their lives, except political jobs. You didn't know that, eh? Up to now, you don't know how these people hate politics. But let you get a little sense tomorrow and elect a Labour government under God and Uriah Butler, and you will see how quickly the longest day has ended, and so has the longest ROP, where every horse has his strategy. And let nobody fool you. This Butler back on the warpath with a vengeance. Nothing at all on us. That's what the workers of Trinidad and Tobago from entering into the high states of government, where this country will at long last hold and control a government capacity, a government license, and a government order. And can you imagine any damn government at all who is ready for the people, taking you a wealthy majority of the people in their backside in a comparatively rich country like Trinidad and Tobago? Can you call that government a government for the people? When perhaps they God, all they're telling you is pray to God for your daily bread, and they are not lifting one finger or letting you to lift your damn horny-handed sons and daughters hands to send them to work to bring bread to the home. Well, every home, as I said, has been cabinet, and I am certain that these gentlemen are not going to be too sorry when their Saturday comes, because according to my information, they are ready to go. But they are wondering what's going to happen if they run away. Well, let me warn them now. They will have to stay here and take the music of a Labour government, because the long arm of Labour will reach them if they have the money business in Swiss bank. The long hand of Labour in Trinidad will reach the Switzerland and see there is that way. But nobody's safe with Butler. Nobody's safe with Labour, and Labour that will be under God and his servant Uriah. Nobody's safe.
The Foster Commission report, also known as the Royal Commission of Inquiry, was established in 1937 to investigate the cause of the 1937 Trinidad and Tobago disturbances, which included strikes and riots. The report recommended, among other things, the formation of a labor department and the establishment of an industrial court. Here's Raymond Covello, Attila the Hun, with the Commission's report.
The report of the Commission of Inquiry has arrived in this colony. The report of the Commission of Inquiry has arrived in this colony. It touches health and sanitation, housing, wages and education. It states that the riots were terrible and declares Butler was responsible. Unrest that we had recently, a commission was sent from the mother country to investigate and probe carefully the cause of the riots in this colony. They accumulated a bulk of evidence. I cannot speak of their competence, but I can say independently the report was a revelation to me. They criticized our ex-governor, the beloved Sir Murchison Fletcher, and Howard Nankerville. They said that he had uttered speeches wrong to a marked degree. They castigated him severely, our ex-colonial secretary. But all these things just appear to me an example of English diplomacy. They said swear through the evidence they had that the riot started at Faizabad by the hooligan element under their leader, a fanatic Negro called Butler, who uttered speeches inflammatory and caused disorders in this colony. The only time they found the police was wrong was when they stayed too long to shoot people down. A peculiar thing of this commission and the 92 lines of dissertation is there is no talk of exploitation of the worker or his tragic condition. Read through the pages, there is no mention of capitalistic oppression, which leads one to entertain a thought and wonder if it's a one-sided report.
Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun with the Commissioner's Report. Following the British West Indian Trinidad and Tobago labor unrest of 1937, the imperial government sent a royal commissioner in to investigate and report on the situation, while also offering possible solutions. The report of the West Indian Royal Commission of 1938, headed by Lord Mohun, also known as the Mohun Report, was published fully in 1945 and exposed the poor living conditions in Britain's Caribbean colonies, recommending improvements in health services, housing, and social services, limited constitutional changes, and support for trade union development. Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun with the 5-year plan.
Happy days are coming back again. Join with me and sing the sweet refrain. The government has got a 5-year plan that will relieve the depression. No more starvation, emancipation is here. Public works are being started right away, so we have cause to be happy and gay. These gigantic things they're going to do will find work for me, and you know more starvation, emancipation is here. A mammoth engineering job has been executed. I mean the harbor scheme that just been completed. Port of Spain will hold her place with ease. The premier city in the West Indies, no starvation, emancipation is here. Soon a market improved change we all will see. A happy tidal wave of real prosperity. We'll be able to maintain our family in comfort and in luxury. No more starvation, emancipation is here.
𝐋𝐕 Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun with the 5-year plan. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Uriah, arrested on the charge of having a seditious intent to incite and raise discontent and disaffection against His Majesty's subjects in the colony and to promote feelings of ill will and hostility towards different classes and races of such subjects, and to bring into hatred and contempt the administration of justice. Butler challenged the legitimacy of the courts to try him in typical Butler fashion.
The Butler point of view is that this government, a crown colony form of government, is not constitutional. And furthermore, Butler is absolutely and completely opposed to crown colony government in this day and age. And so a court that is set up by a crown colony government cannot be capable of trying Butler or convicting Butler. I reject any verdict coming from this court. I reject any verdict coming from this court.
On Thursday, 16th December 1937, Butler was found guilty on the charge of sedition and sentenced to a maximum term of 2 years imprisonment at His Majesty's pleasure. Butler's first appeal to the local courts was rejected. He next appealed to the Privy Council in England. Butler had completed his prison term when the Privy Council ruled in his favor. He had innocently served a prison sentence. Philip Garcia, Lord Executor from 1938. The hero, the League of Nations.
The League of Nations has tried for years to stop conflict and war affairs. The League of Nations has tried for years to stop conflict and war affairs. But the war with Abyssinia, China and Spain convinced me it is all in vain. This rebellion will never cease. How can we have everlasting peace? Russia may have men to support the skies. France and England are well fortified. Japan is a rising power of the world. The flag of Belgium are still unfurled. But Hitler from England demand his land. Mussolini extend his hand, so the conflict will never cease. How can we have everlasting peace? Now Mussolini, the great warlord, was the first tyrant who drew the sword under the sanctified authority of the great man Haile Selassie. He marched with his regiment 4 by 4, with the cruel armaments of war, so the conflict will never cease. How can we have everlasting peace? Another point I'm here to explain is internal conflict we have in Spain. The Reds declare they'll fight to the last. The Royalists with their poisonous gas, with aeroplane and with battleship in time, committing horrors and monstrous crime. These wars cannot cease. How can we have everlasting peace? Now comes a dauntless Japanese, invading the sanctity of the Chinese, destroying mankind without a heart, treasures and beauty, poetry and art. But listen to the message of the USA. Hear what Great Britain have got to say. That if war declare, America and England will interfere.
𝐂𝐲 Philip Garcia, Lord Executor from 1938. The Hero, the League of Nations. The London Electric Theatre, Trinidad's first cinema, opened in Trinidad on February 2nd, 1911. It was located at the corner of French and Baden-Powell Streets in Woodborough. The theatre later became the Astor Cinema in the 1930s. During the 1937-38 rioting, Babu Lala set fire on the theatre. Raphael de Leon, the Roaring Lion, documented this event. Babu Lala.
Burn down the London Theatre. 1. I burn down the big empire. 2. Burn down the London Theatre. 3. You burn down the big empire. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. Made attempt to burn down the theatre, serving 7 years down at Carrera. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. I never see such conspiracy burn the theaters in this colony. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. You burn down the London Theatre. 1. Oh, burn down the big empire. 2. Burn down the London Theatre. 3. They burn down the big empire. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. I burn down the London Theatre. 1. You burn down the big empire. 2. Bam bam biddy da da. 3. Biddy dat dat biddy dat da. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. I talk about a man that is bad. Babu Lala in the land of Trinidad. Babu Lala made attempt to burn down the theatre. Biddy wam biddy da diddy dim biddy da diddy wam ba da da diddy da diddy da. Babu Lala da 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 da.
The Roaring Lion. Babu Lala. 𝐂𝐲 Raphael de Leon, the Roaring Lion. Babu Lala. 1937 plus 2 years, and it was 1939. And what happened in 1939? World War II. Butler was released in May 1939, but was rearrested in November 1939 and placed in detention on Nelson Island, for it was felt by the colonial authorities that Butler was a threat to the British World War II efforts under the defense regulations of World War II. Here's Norman Spann, King Radio with Sedition Law.
Believe I want in the rich and poor. Be careful, friends, today from this seditious law. Believe I want in the rich and poor. Be careful, friends, today from this seditious law. If you chop that offense, you have no evidence. They make the lies and we out in a war with us. Eddie, 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 yo. They make the lies and we out in a war with us. They make the lies and we out in a war with us. fellow was charged for that offense, and his lawyer couldn't break down the evidence because the juror's decision that he was guilty. But the judge really acted with sympathy, by giving him 2 years in custody.
Them is the lies who him out and I want retard.
Eddie, 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 oh.
Them is the lies who him out and I want retard.
Bumpa, 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 bumpa.
Them is the lies who him out and I want retard.
Agree with any man who's speaking for their rights, but you can't say everything what you like. There's certain things would affect the authority who has the strength and the force in this colony. And when you get a blow in the jail, you'll walk. Eddie, 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 oh. Bumpa, 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 bumpa. Wants to be versed in politics, you got to be plucky with a lots of tricks. First you got to use a little diplomacy, mix up with common sense and psychology. As when you get the blow, not only talk.
Them in the lies who we put in a worry war.
Eddie, Eddie, what happened, the worry war.
Them in the lies who we put in a worry war.
Bumpa, 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 bumpa.
Them in the lies who we put in a worry war.
Politics improving our native land, lectured and preached by women and men. But you gotta know, friend, what you're talking about, as you shut up a danger for your mouth. So if you know you can use the knife and fork.
Them is the lies who we mouth in a worry war.
Eddie, 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 oh.
Them is the lies who we mouth in a worry war.
Bumpa, 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 bumpa.
Them is the lies who we mouth in a worry war.
𝐂𝐲, Norman Span, King Radio, Sedition Law. Butler, who fought for the British West Indian Regiment in Egypt and Palestine in World War I, spent all of World War II in jail from 1939 to 1945, without being charged or convicted of any crime. He was only released after 6 years at Nelson Island at the end of World War II in 1945.
And just last week, there's a report on Uriah Butler and an Isaac and a Gina and a Christian part. They were doing anything but justice to the great Southern Senegal and Tobago as of a known. I'm not only Senegal and Tobago, where I stand now, I am entitled, according to an ancient law in England, I am entitled to receive even more at the hands of the Queen than what they offered, like for the services that Butler has rendered to the British family, the British royal family particularly, and to the British Commonwealth generally. When I go away, they have it with a good law. With a good board of Python here, I have to put walls all over the outside. Otherwise, I'll take your gun over. And the Englishman likes to storm, you know. So they have to do what they want to do. They have to take the nigger what in. But for hell, they don't want to do a good law to be a good law. I put this back on. Something. What do you do? Put this back on. Put this back on. I hope the fellow that's better on you. Put it on. Butler has been here long enough to do, trying to teach you what he knows, but it's a target of history. Have I not taught you and proven to you that Butler is Butler the Beautiful? you. You think them? You forget that that teacher down here in the school of Uriah Butler before it became a uni? The University of Woodford? But just now the university professor won't be able to read math from Stanford. All them things they have on the square, but all the different files, all the ocean science files, but they found the spider. And the next man of the file is the same man I told you last week as head of government, head of the state of government of Trinidad and Tobago. I am wise enough to make overtures to the United States of America as the big boy, the big brother in the Western Hemisphere. I am going to offer him a treaty of eternal friendship. I am going to present to them for the signature of their president, because President Butler was to sign here, and I expect the President of the United States to sign here on a treaty telling the world that Trinidad and Tobago and the United States of America have signed an offensive and defensive alliance.
While Butler was in jail, Cipriani was promoted to the Legislative Council, promoted to the executive of the Colonial Council as a representative of a labor movement that had long rejected him. As mayor of Port of Spain and as a legislator on the executive of the Colonial Council, Cipriani played a pivotal role in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. But to say he was a great labor leader and to name a state-run labor college after him is absolute incompetence, gross ignorance, sheer madness. However, Captain Arthur Andrew Cipriani was a mighty man, a great mayor of Port of Spain, and a formidable legislator, well deserving of the Cipriani Boulevard in Newtown Woodbrook and the statue at the foot of Frederick Street in the heart of the capital city. Here is the mighty sparrow with the statue.
I am made of steel and concrete. My address is down Frederick Street, where I stand quite discreet. For so many years on my pedestal I have stood. What I saw looked so good. So tell them people I am a statue in the heart of town. I like the way they play and I like the things they say. So for 76 J'ouvert, I coming down, I coming down. Alright, I coming down, I coming down. So tell them people Cipriani statue in the heart of town. Say I like the way they play and I like the things they say. So for 76 J'ouvert, I coming down, I coming down. Look me here, I coming down, I coming down. I coming, I coming, I coming, I coming, I coming, I reach now.
Slinger Francisco, the mighty sparrow, with a tribute to Captain Arthur Andrew Cipriani. The mighty sparrow, the statue, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion, courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, a masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion, documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Rienzi, with the authority of Butler behind him, formed the Oilfield Workers Trade Union, the OWTU, and the All Trinidad Sugar Estate and Factory Workers Trade Union. Rienzi served as the first President General of both trade unions. On April 18, 1942, Governor Sir Hubert Young officially opened the Indian Community Club at number 9 Queen's Park West, with Adrian Kola Rienzi as president, M.J. Kepalani vice president, and S.M. Rameshwar secretary. In 1943, Rienzi, like Cipriani, was promoted to the Executive Council. 9 months later, Rienzi accepted the civil service post of second Crown Counsel and resigned from the trade unions. This is a tribute to one of 4 20th century titans, mighty warriors, fearless trailblazers, champions of the working class, Uriah Butler, Mahatma Gandhi, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. This one is for my hero, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. In an interesting development, the then Governor, Murchison Fletcher, in a friendly veiled tribute to Butler and the workers' struggle, stated as far as he was concerned, the Crown Colony government was just as much to blame as anyone else for the riots. Here is Philip Garcia, the Lord Executor. We mourn the loss of Sir Murchison Fletcher.
Sir Murchison the noble, the gallant, the brave, the whole island grave. Sir Murchison the noble, the gallant, the brave, the whole island grave. He endured himself in every human heart. He beautified the building, the squares and parks. The whole population cried out in pain to know that he will never come back again. Let a statue of him be made, honor and tribute to him be paid, a colossal monument be erected, in commemorating the great things he did, his name to be written in letters of gold, and his history described by the young and old. The whole population cried out in pain to know that he will never come back again. The gallant governors that I have met, Sir Murchison Fletcher, him I select, a paragon among men, fearless and bold, honorable and just with a heart of gold. He seemed to impress me as one who realized that 60 of earth makers of one size. I emphasize and recognize he made of this island a paradise. It was through the internal problems of the land that he was called home to old England, and on government house there was a gloom enshrouded with the majesty of a tomb, and though many are pining to see his face, another governor has stepped in his place, and with family right across the sea, we send a message of sympathy. He came here with a bright career. In the civil service we are all aware. And 9 months afterward do we find the internal upheaval upset his mind. So let us mourn, let us sigh, let us cry, and let us wish him a long goodbye. And let us cry out in grief and pain. We know that he will never come back again.
Kaiso, Philip Garcia, the Lord Executor. We mourn the loss of Sir Murchison Fletcher. Governor Sir Murchison Fletcher stated the righteous events served as a statutory purge to the colony and gave him goodwill on both sides should render the colony more prosperous and happy. The riots should be a warning to the employers that they should be more generous, sympathetic, and patience, and employers and workers should now be more compromising in their demands. This stance by Governor Fletcher was unpopular with England. He was forced to tender his resignation from the colonial service as governor on the grounds of mental ill health. As Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun with the governor's resignation.
In my opinion, Sir Murchison Fletcher was our ablest governor. In my opinion, Sir Murchison Fletcher was our ablest governor. We only wish the Downing Street authorities would send more men like him to the West Indies. His resignation was a shock to me, regretted throughout this colony. Sir Murchison Fletcher will ever be beloved in every Trinidadian's memory, for he proved in sincerity his interest in the welfare of this colony. We must foster local industry, said he, and augment the island's prosperity. It is no wonder it's with regret and pain we learn he ain't coming back again. Many of you will remember and know when he first came I sang a calypso, in which I'll admit I was rather bold, for I contended he was too old. When he was here a year I changed my opinion, for he gloriously justified the selection, and today we find his resignation is a cause for lamentation. In this my sentiments which are sincere and true, I must include Lady Fletcher too, for interest in the oppressed masses she has shown. Her baby clinic work is too well known. This social worker fought indefatigably to help and aid suffering humanity. So we can say our luck is bad to lose them both here in Trinidad. We don't know whom his successor may be, but this we can say independently. He might be as good but cannot be better than our own Sir Murchison Fletcher. We receive his resignation with deep regret. We know what we had but we don't know what we're going to get. But still the population is always glad to welcome him back to Trinidad.
Kaiso, Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun with the governor's resignation.
I now have great pleasure in turning to the agenda of the evening. The items forming our agenda are these: funding of millions by the government, millions that might very well have been spent in certain directions and which would have brought employment to hundreds of the tens of thousands of workers who are now unemployed and as a result are made to spread together when the day comes. And as chairman of the evening, I am not going to apologize to any man or woman if, as I enumerate and read out to you the items on the agenda for tonight's meeting, I want you to spread your minds of prejudice and to hear statements that we are bound to refer to as statements of fact, as we are able to put it over on the Butler Labour Party platform. A platform, let me repeat, a platform that is open to every man, woman, and child of Trinidad and Tobago who can take hold to come here to tell their fellow citizens about things that concern the the good and welfare of the citizenry and the strangers within our nation. But the Labour Party platform is open to one and all, regardless of your political creed or affiliation. And there is only one party I know who, from its inception, was national in outlook. And I am happy to be able to see we are still national in our plans and policy. And we hope by our simple efforts, there and everywhere in our country, to make this citizenry nationally minded, just as Scotland itself is nationally minded. Kill me dead, but stand off my people and my country. Kill me dead, but let economic independence flow freely from the length and breadth of our country, so that every man and woman can head on, live and die under his and her own right and dignity. And let just any mistake or doubt in your mind, let me say right here and right now, that there has been this job to place purely and happily every Trinidadian and Tobagoan under his own right and dignity. To put citizens of Trinidad and Tobago by the hundreds, far less than thousands, and tens of thousands, and hundreds of thousands, under their own right and dignity in obedience to the command of high heaven. These means shall tend to God and God alone. But God has the man who dares to keep my people and my country very much longer away, far away from economic independence. You who now make that part of your prayer to God, that part of your daily prayer, give us this day our daily bread and daily mockery and a son of God is dead. But let's not only going to ask you to pray with him, give us this day our daily bread. And I hope you will follow me, because I know where the bread is, and if you follow me, you shall have bread and have it. In this fight for bread, for women, there can be no damn surrender. In this fight for bread, for children first, and everybody else afterwards, there can be no whole book. Because you have to don't hold from the ranks of the conquerors, for only warriors, warriors, warriors the name, are wanting to follow the lion in this battle to bring betterment for one and all in Trinidad and Tobago.
The Colonial Secretary, Howard N. Nankivell, was sent on another colonial assignment and replaced by another Englishman, George Linden, who became industrial advisor to the government of Trinidad and Tobago. Here's Raymond Quevedo, Attila the Hun, with Mr. Nankivell's speech.
Hand me the Port of Spain to read Mr. Nankivell's speech again. Hand me the Port of Spain to read Mr. Nankivell's speech again. Replete with tact and sympathy, fair play and Christian charity. We promise that whatever they do, Trinidad will remember you. Imagine the moral courage of that man in the Legislative Council to stand and give his opinion without no fear in the midst of the members sitting there, to get on his feet and openly say that the oppressed worker deserves more pay. We should erect right in this city a monument to his memory. Many Trinidadians that day in the council, but they didn't say a word in defense of the working man. Although they are natives of this Irie land, they didn't go to argue or commend, but to blindly support the government. And Nancy Vildo, another Trinidadian, fought for our emancipation. Spoke feelingly and strikingly, logically and conscientiously. His diction was perfect, elocution great. To describe his speech words are inadequate. He said, we who plant the cane and dig the oil and develop the estates with sweat and toil, while employers are living luxuriously, why should we die in misery? His speech created a sensation and was welcomed by the population. There's a rumor he will be recalled by the commissioners. He has been blackballed. If he's a million miles over the sea, beloved in our hearts he'd ever be. For the entire multitude offers undying gratitude.
𝐂𝐤 Raymond Quevedo Attila the Hun with Mr. Nankiville's speech. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, a Grenadian-born labor leader, widely recognized for his role in the 1937 labor riots in Trinidad and Tobago, which sparked significant labor and social reforms. Butler was committed to the total revolutionization of the Crown Colony system of government. The unrest led by Butler helped pave the way for universal adult suffrage and constitutional reforms, granting a measure of self-government. Butler's leadership and activism are considered pivotal in the struggle for better working conditions and a more democratic society in Trinidad and Tobago. Leroy Calise, the Black Stallion, nothing come easy.
You get up one morning, your elders have something, you don't know how they get it, but you want to use it. But if you ask them old people, you get the thing what they went through, ask them this any day, and them elders sure to say, black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. Make up your mind to work 10 times harder to get something because of your color. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. People rob you, humiliate you, turn around and whip you, and then they free you. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you hear you get a little something, with a 4-5 friends, look your marking, because you don't know already. Black man don't get nothing easy. You get up one morning, and oil money running. How it come you don't know. You don't care how the thing go. But if you read about Uriah, you go find out about the pressure. How they get so much whole hell. Get a penny from TLL. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to take off your own cash money, pay people for your own refinery. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. Make up your mind to be a magician, to make money out of scrap iron. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you hear you get your little something, with a dragon now you keep marking, because I don't tell you already, black man don't get nothing easy. You get up one morning, independence happening. You think the thing come easy, you start taking liberty. But if you know about petition, we had to send to England for some woman to tell we in this colony free. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to go to conference in London to get independence in your own land. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. They play slave you, and then they whip you, turn wrong and sell you, and then they free you. Black man have to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you're here, you get a little something. With a dragon and you keep marking, because you don't know this already. Black man don't get freedom easy. So when a black man have something, you got to start thinking. To get it easy, you got to practice economy. From getting licks from the slave master to become the landowner is a terrible journey. Black with plenty brutality. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to make up your mind that you're able to get a bully and jam with the devil. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. You got to make up your mind that you're ready to swim on shore and rock your boat steady. Black man got to keep on jamming, for black man to get a little something. So when you're here, you get your little something. With a hawker, you better keep watching, because I don't tell you already. Black man don't get nothing easy.
𝐋𝐔𝐕 Leroy Callis, the Black Stallion. Nothing come easy. This is a tribute to one of four mighty men of the 20th century, champions of the people, Butler, Gandhi, King, and Mandela. Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your family's tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans. Golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus. The smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic. Bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Jubal Uriah Buzz Butler. The labor riots of 1937 resulted in many of the rights and privileges we enjoy today. They were not given, but earned through blood, sweat, and tears, and unwavering determination, relentless resistance, and struggles. The flames of 1937 still burns within the hearts of those still fighting on behalf of the oppressed and downtrodden people worldwide. In the 1938 elections, while Butler was incarcerated, Cipriani's TLP won 3 seats and Rienzi's Unionist Party 1 seat of the 13 seats in the Legislative Council. Here is Brother J, Selwyn James, with a tribute to Uriah Butler.
He faced great distresses because of his belief, but his concern at all times was that his people find relief. For 6 long years he was held on Nelson Island, framed on a charge which he won, accused of sedition in 50 when he won national elections. They conspired to deprive him of the chief minister's position. And that's why when I see what's taking place today, from the grave I hear Lord Richards telling me to say, the workers we must go back to the days of Butler. If today we all under pressure from an oppressive master, shall say we must go back to the times of Uriah, to ease the pain and stop the strain. We must find us a chief servant again. Nation, make that title official. That Butler laid the foundation for independence, there can be no denial. His British Empire, Citizens' Home Rule Party, had as its philosophy, a people must decide their own destiny. Buzz was called arrogant and uneducated, rabble-rouser, but to the poor he was dedicated. And that's why when I see what's taking place today, them Butlerites still alive today tells me to say, the workers we must go back to the days of Butler, for rejuvenation and some direction for action. We must go back to the days of Uriah, to stop the pain and ease the strain. We must find us a chief servant today.
Kaiso, Selwyn James, Brother J, a tribute to Uriah Butler. Buzz was committed to truth, justice, and fair play. Never before in the history of Trinidad and Tobago, anyone so bravely and boldly spoke out with fiery words and fearless actions, regardless of the consequences.
Every government will have to be brought to account, because I will make right with every country in the world, so that it will pass and sign Scotland's extradition treaty, so that it can down Scotland. I mean, keep in Scotland and run to Trinidad, they're going to send this vagabond back to pay this, and his money here, and Butler is down to find out. Butler is going to stretch out his long arms and bring him back to the scene of his damn treachery and crime. And he's not alone, you know. But when I have the business right up his sleeve, and nobody don't bring news to me, you know. But now only have to sleep or put somebody to sleep. So if we mention anything in this pamphlet as the wandering of billions, we only mention that to give you an idea that if and when the time comes that we really have in Trinidad and Tobago for the first time a government of the people, a government for the people, and a government by the people, then we are going to see that that government does not squander millions, but spend your millions wisely. And the wisest money you could spend today will be an agriculture. And next agriculture, which is going to swallow up the unemployment and solve the unemployment situation. And the unemployment problem solved, there will be no room for the ISA, Industrial Stabilization Act, will be a dark dream and nightmare because of the statute of our country. Every goddamn law or bylaw that is not in favor of God's law, not on all fours with the laws of God, shall be wiped out of the statute of our country. Every law and bylaw that is not in conformity with the will of God shall be, because every tree that my leader, Almighty God, has not planted in His square is going to be rooted up and thrown in the fire. And behold, there is going to be weeping and gnashing of because what that is going to gather up. But another heart of us, and it appears to me as if in this fight, many of my own people are not going to receive much. Oh yes, we are not going to squander the millions that we can put our hands on tomorrow. Well, I was reading my Bible at my boat up to yesterday, and I came across this, and it rang like a bell in my head. It came like a true and a fresh command from God. That when you speak to your people and to my people, let your conversation be yea and nay, so help me God. So you will take it or leave it. When we say yes, speak the truth, or no, this is not so, or yes, this is so, you will accept it or reject it. But our conversation from now on is going to be on that basis. We have already taken an oath to tell you the truth. And we cannot get away from that. But don't forget about 𝐿𝐶𝐕 to tell you the truth. No. We have to get soberer and soberer as the time comes when we are going to be like tigers. And you know the tiger never satisfied. And doctor is not going to be satisfied when any goddamn heart goes for the sufferers of the country. We want the whole heart or nothing at all. Give us the whole heart or nothing else. The whole heart or nothing at all. And that goes for the oil fields of Trinidad and Tobago. We are going to help him in his fight. But the westernized fight today is not for both players. Let us read it. Let us work it from this side. His fight is to bring to the doorstep of every man, woman, and all that God has put inside of Trinidad and Tobago for the people of Trinidad and Tobago. Because you must go to big down to an ask people for their damn home. We can ask them for their home, but we cannot do. Who is not with us is going to be treated as being absolutely and completely against us. And if you agree with that strategy, then you will manage to think
Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, champion of the working class, the hero and spokesman of the people. Butler continued his contribution to the people's struggle in his capacity as President General of the OWTU and later as General Organizer. The Churchill-Roosevelt Highway was built from Port of Spain to Fort Reed Waterfield during World War II in just 3 months. Construction began in December 1941 and was completed in March 1942. Named after Winston Churchill and Franklin D. Roosevelt. Initially reserved for U.S. military use only, the highway was later transferred to the government of Trinidad and Tobago on October 24, 1949. V.S. Naipaul's first book, Guru Deva and Other Indian Tales, was published in 1943. 1939 to 1945, World War II. Here are 3 World War II calypsos. Hitler Boy by Philip Garcia, Lord Executor. Freedom and Liberty by Rufus Callender, Lord Caresser. And Run Ya Run Hitler by Egbert Moore, Lord Beginner.
Hitler boy, change your mind. It's you that cause the Czechs and Poland to grind. You said the Nazis spying in America, but just now we'll chase him back to Austria. Yes, me man, that's your plan. Every day you demand in land. Britain should really divide up Germany and wipe them off of the map entirely. Krugobel, you was doing well. You even went and demand Memel. Britain has given Poland a guarantee. Hitler's aggression must be stopped entirely. Hitler's diplomacy got to cease, claiming people and annexing for peace. He's a cold-blooded murderer, a worthless barbarian, but this is the last of that madman Austrian. You boast of your might in the London Sea, but you scuttle in your ships, it seems to me. With Britain and France join up together, can wipe out anything like the German Empire. Go to war with me gun and shield, but they can't send the growler on the battlefield. I would keep in camp and I would let them know that I only came there to sing me calypso. Believe me candidly, this Christmas had no regret. Oh, whether rich man, poor man, everyone had the fete. The bamboo and the biscuit drums, decent or not, was doing some. I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. And everybody, I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. The merriment began Christmas Eve about 6 o'clock. Hear the swings and the rhythm coming from every block. Why? Pajamas was on parade, kimonos flying of every shade. I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. How what you talking? I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. The men in short pants with their cap peaks turned back behind. What you talking? Shouting to the top of their voices, singing this all the time. Why? Chamberlain with surety, we would capture Germany. I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. How what you talking? I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. It was a grand parade we had all over the land. What created the sensation was the bamboo band singing, "Give me back the lion, oh, without the dread of a Gestapo." I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. And what you talking? I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. We went to Tongue and Susie Q without a mistake. Only one stupid super didn't want to give us a break. He came to stop the ban. He was crowned with an old span. I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. And everybody, I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. In my opinion, this Christmas was elaborate. Don't mention it, how the New Year proved to be up to date. Both was a good festival, what about the glorious carnival? I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty. And what you talking? I wish Hitler was here to see freedom and liberty.
Run you run, Adolf Hitler, run you run. Run you run, Adolf Hitler, run you run. Hear what Chamberlain say, cheer boys cheer. Surety and security, we will capture Germany. Run you run, Adolf Hitler, run you run. Run you run, Adolf Hitler, run you run. Hear what Chamberlain say, cheer boys cheer. With charity and security, we go fight for Germany. Hitler, my boy, your heart can't be filled with no joy. You must bear in mind that the fire now behind. You say you're looking for land, killing woman, children and man. Surety with psychology, we will capture Germany. Let me hear you. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Make the corner. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Take it easy. Hear what Chamberlain said. Yeah, boys, yeah. With charity and security, we will fight for Germany. That man Hitler, who known as the great dictator, and the German nation, he having a real confusion. He know that he cannot win. Why don't he beg Mr. Chamberlain? Surety with diplomacy, we will capture Germany. All together. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Everybody. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Take it easy. Hear what Chamberlain say. Cheer, boys, cheer. With charity and security, we go fight for Germany. But he went into Poland, and there he caused great destruction, like a harvest festival, and he bombed the hospital, and the Russians jumped in the war. Poland couldn't go no more. Surety with some energy, let us fight for Germany. Make it corner. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Take it easy. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Let me hear you. Hear what Chamberlain say. Cheer, boys, cheer. With charity and security, we will fight for Germany. But his friend Mussolini don't want them capture Italy. Albania and Abyssinia, waiting for him like a tiger. So he couldn't answer the call. He did bound to give him the fall. Surety and so willingly we will capture Germany. Make the corner. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. All together. Run your run, Adolf Hitler, run your run. Take it easy. Never Chamberlain said, security and security will wipe out Germany.
𝐋𝐕 3 World War II Calypsos. Philip Garcia, Lord Executor, Rufus Callender, Lord Caresser, and Egbert Moore, Lord Beginner, Hitler Boy, Freedom and Liberty, and Run Ya Run Hitler. This is a tribute to one of 4 20th century titans, mighty warriors, fearless trailblazers, champions of the working class. Mahatma Gandhi, Uriah Butler, Martin Luther King Jr., and Nelson Mandela. This one is for my hero, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. On Love Radio, Pure Passion. Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
There's many trials in life. Someone wants to prove courage to find the truth. Sacrifices in life for your families tomorrow. You need the courage. Strong and independent person need a strong cup of coffee. Nescafe, the #1 black strong coffee. Improve memory, boost energy level, increase alertness. Strong and delicious coffee. Nescafe, with the smell of aroma, coffee beans, golden brown Nescafe, coffee ganus, the smell of a better tomorrow.
Nescafe Classic, bunga ng 100% puro at natural.
Nescafe, the coffee we love.
Courtesy the #1 black strong coffee, Nescafe, the coffee we love. The hero, champion, and spokesman of the working class, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. A masterpiece with passion, positivity, and power for posterity on Love Radio, Pure Passion. Documenting for future generations to treasure the life journey of one of the 20th century's titans, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler, the hero and spokesman of the working class, the champion of the poor and downtrodden, the supreme chief servant, a true father of the nation of Trinidad and Tobago, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. Be sure to save, enjoy, love, share far and wide so that future generations can appreciate the tremendous world-changing contribution of my hero, Tubal Uriah Buzz Butler. I'm Sukram Ali, the ultimate selector, full of the joy of life, enjoying the journey.
Feel good. Love Radio. Love Radio. Love Radio. Love Radio. Music that makes you feel good. That makes you feel good. Love Radio.
Non-stop
Music.